Hi guys, it's your Anfield Girl, and oh my goodness, you will not believe the absolute meltdown happening over at Stamford Bridge right now. Seriously, just a few years ago, Chelsea fans genuinely thought they were entering a shiny new golden era. Todd Boehly and Clear Lake Capital came in promising a total revolution. They threw literal billions at transfers, handed out crazy 8-year contracts like candy, and hoarded every single young talent on the planet. But today, the entire project is catching fire. Marc Cucurella, one of their absolute best players and locker room leaders, has officially packed his bags and fled back to Spain to sign for Real Madrid. It is a done deal, and let me tell you, this departure is just the tip of a massive, terrifying iceberg. Why did Cucurella abandon ship? Who is following him out the door next? And why is Chelsea's future looking so incredibly dark despite spending billions? Let's talk about it. Let's be totally honest about Cucurella. When he first arrived from Brighton for a staggering €65 million, he looked completely lost. The fans were on his back and he didn't look worth a fraction of that price. But over the last 2 seasons, the man completely transformed. He became the absolute heartbeat of that Chelsea team from left back. He ran his lungs out, drove the attack forward, and played practically every single minute from whistle to whistle. He finally became the world-class player they paid for. But paradoxically, the exact moment he became indispensable is the exact moment he decided to walk away. And honestly, can you blame him? First of all, it's Real Madrid. When Los Blancos call, you don't hang up. Cucurella is 27 now. He is at the absolute peak of his career. For a Spanish player, moving to Madrid is the ultimate dream, even if you grew up in Barcelona's academy. But the real reason he left? The total, absolute chaos inside Chelsea itself. The British press is leaking everything right now, and the word is that the experienced players are completely fed up with the hierarchy. The squad is completely bloated with random teenagers, the balance is totally broken, and the dressing room is openly questioning the board's bizarre strategy. Cucurella wasn't quiet about it either. He dropped hints constantly that he was miserable with the club's corporate policy. And don't forget the financial nightmare. Despite hoarding all this talent, Chelsea is constantly suffocating under financial fair play and profit and sustainability rules. They desperately need to balance the books. So what do? They look at their most valuable assets and put them on the chopping block, especially since they finished in a pathetic 10th place and have absolutely zero European football. Imagine paying billions just to sit mid-table. It's hilarious but tragic. Cucurella didn't leave because he was a bench warmer, he left as their star man. And when your top leaders start running for the exits, you know the ship is sinking. And guess what, guys? Cucurella is definitely not the last star leader to leave. If we look at the list of who wants out next, standing right at the very top is none other than Enzo Fernandez. The rumours around the Argentine world champion have been growing louder for months. Insiders say there is massive, toxic tension between Enzo and the board. He didn't come to London to fight for basic European qualification while listening to away fans mock his team. He is tired of the managerial merry-go-round, constantly changing his role on the pitch and his status in the locker room. He is at the perfect footballing age and he wants to win trophies now. But here's the real catch: who can actually afford him? Chelsea bought him for a fortune, and their ego won't let him go for pennies unless they want to look like total amateurs. To buy Enzo right now, a club needs to drop a cool 120, maybe even 150 million euros. Realistically, only 2 clubs can touch that: Real Madrid and PSG. Maybe Bayern Munich if they sell off some big names, but why would Bayern even bother with Chelsea's drama? But the absolute ultimate nightmare scenario for Chelsea fans, the one name that will cause a literal riot if he leaves: Cole
Palmer. And no, I'm not just saying this to scare you. The whispers about his frustration have been getting louder since spring. Missing out on the World Cup squad was a massive red flag for a player of his calibre. Cole is the literal face of Chelsea right now. He carries the entire team on his back. But football changes fast, guys. Look at Cucurella. Even their manager, Xabi Alonso, reportedly found out about Cucurella's transfer from a Fabrizio Romano tweet. Think about that for a second. The manager reads about his star player leaving on Twitter. That tells you everything you need to know about loyalty and communication at Stamford Bridge. In modern football, agents, money and hype dictate everything. If Chelsea stays unstable, the European giants will circle Cole Palmer and he will look at his options. Moises Caicedo, João Pedro, Andre Santos, they are all looking at the club's direction and feeling deeply unsettled. Chelsea isn't a title challenger anymore. For them, a successful season now just means scraping into the top 5. How the mighty have fallen. The absolute core issue here is that Chelsea has completely lost its identity. They spend billions. Yes, they have infinite cash, sure. But if you ask a single football fan what Chelsea's philosophy is on the pitch right now, nobody can give you an answer. Under Roman Abramovich, you always knew what Chelsea stood for. Managers came and went, but the DNA was ruthless. They were monsters who won trophies here and now. Today, Chelsea looks like a glorified Wall Street investment fund. They buy young assets, lock them into long-term contracts, and calculate their potential resale value in the year 2030. But they forgot that football is played by humans, not spreadsheet data. And when your top talent realizes they are just rows on an Excel sheet, they pack up and move to a wealthier, more ambitious company. This extreme youth policy means the team has absolutely no backbone, no spine. When you're losing a heated London derby at half-time, a 21-year-old isn't going to stand up and scream at the locker room. They don't have that authority. Thiago Silva was the very last old-school leader they had. But look back at their history. They used to have Didier Drogba, John Terry, Frank Lampard, Petr Cech, true alphas who demanded excellence. Losing Cucurella hurt so deeply because he was one of the very few players left with that fighting character. It's an emotional fracture in the squad. So, what actually happens next season? Let's look at 3 scenarios. Scenario 1, the optimistic path. Xabi Alonso magically fixes everything. He becomes a father figure to these kids, the youth suddenly mature overnight, and the board actually gives Alonso the one thing money can't buy: time. They keep Enzo, re-energize Palmer, and have a massive August transfer window. Maybe they crawl back into the title race in a year or 2. Scenario 2, the realistic path. Chelsea stays decent but remains miles behind stable, finished projects. Arsenal under Arteta is a level above. Man City has a flawless machine under Enzo Maresca. Manchester United has stabilised under Michael Carrick, and we all know Liverpool has a brilliant system locked down. Even Spurs are spending like crazy. In this reality, Chelsea fights for a Champions League spot, fails to win the league, but manages to keep Palmer and Enzo from leaving. But then there's scenario 3, the pessimistic nightmare. Cucurella's exit triggers a massive, unstoppable chain reaction. Enzo demands a transfer, Palmer's agents start talking to Real Madrid, and Xabi Alonso spends the entire season just trying to figure out what his best 11 even is. The board panics, the fans turn toxic, and we go right back to the chaotic managerial merry-go-round. Let's be real. Summer 2026 is the ultimate judgment day for Todd Boehly. It's been 4 years since the takeover, and outside of a Club World Cup where half of Europe didn't even show up, Chelsea has won absolutely nothing. If this 5-year cycle ends in disaster, Boehly might just look at the camera and say, you know what, screw English football, it's way too complicated. Can Chelsea survive this meltdown? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. See you at Anfield.